Do you believe that you can heal yourself? Too often, we give our power away to something outside of ourselves, and rarely, if ever, trust and tap into our innate healing power and intuition. Everyone has this capability to heal in ways we never thought possible. It's your sovereign right to claim and have true health and lasting wellness. Now, here is the host of the Dr. Dolores Show, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in our amazing universe. And welcome to another episode of the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're going to be talking about I'm awake. Now what? For so many people, I think people are, I want to say, waking up, meaning that they're no longer being driven by the illusion of what's on the external to themselves. And maybe life has been working for you up until a point, and then all of a sudden something has pivoted or shifted, and it's just no longer working. We're going through massive changes right now in our world. And, the buzzword that comes up is about spiritual awakening and also ascension. And this is what we're really going to dive into today on our show, because I feel that so many people are on a precipice, meaning that their old way of doing life is no longer working for them. And they're aware of that. And they have wakened up to the fact that that is true. And, once you wake up, it's very difficult and even challenging to go back to sleep because you really can't. You can't unsee what you've seen. There's that word. It's just like, what? When something happens, people are like, I can't unsee that. So it's just like it kind of, rebrands into your reality. And, you're kind of at a precipice, but also at a crossroads where it's just like you're in uncharted territory, because what had been your existence was different, and now it's like the rug has been pulled out from underneath you. Maybe you've transitioned out of a different career. Maybe your relationships are morphing and changing into something different. Maybe you're just picking up where you're living and moving, to someplace far away or even close by, but there's just a lot of changes going on. And, I kind of wrote this here is like when you are waking up, it's like you're seeing the truth of everything you used to believe just as a lie sometimes. Okay. And now you're like, now what do I do with this? And I find that this is a time that you can pretty much decide what you want to do and take, learn how to trust that inner wisdom that you have to allow you to lead, to allow you to be led to where you need to go next. Not where your neighbor needs to go, not where your husband or wife needs to go, or your child needs to go, but where you need to go. It's like, it's coming back to like this renaissance of becoming and being aware of who you are as a person, and not with anybody's filter projected onto you of what you should be. And I think this kind of goes hand in hand with people's almost unconscious drive to give their power away to something outside of themselves. And it's really about waking up to taking your power back for yourself, because when we come into existence, we're like this beautiful diamond, okay? And we have all these beautiful radiant facets that are just shining out. And as we are born, and even before we're born, it's like we give parts of our soul away, and they kind of get, time locked or stuck in places where maybe we've been stressed out or had some not so pleasant things happen, and even some of the pleasant things. Part of our soul gets fragmented off and is stuck there. So it's no surprise to me that, when as you live your life and you're getting to be, in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, it's just like sometimes you feel like you don't know who you are because so many parts of you have been fragmented off and are like landlocked in another time and place. So, what waking up is really about, and how I define it, is calling back all your pieces that have been fractured off. Either we've given them away consciously or unconsciously across, you know, our lifetime, and where they have been landlocked. And it's about bringing those parts back to yourself so you become complete and whole. And it's kind of a shamanistic type of way of looking at things, yet it's very powerful and it's very truthful, because once you start reintegrating parts of yourself that have been caught in another time loop or a time frame, you start gaining more of your inner power, your inner strength. And guess what? That a radiant diamond that is your soul starts to shine and become more complete and whole within itself. So, we're going to be talking about how we can, first of all, what is ascension and what is a spiritual awakening, but how we could really move forward and create a life on our terms where we are thriving instead of surviving. So, when we awake to ascension, it refers to the process of spiritual growth and enlightenment where individuals seek to elevate their consciousness and align with higher states of being. And this is really deep rooted in various spiritual and metaphysical traditions, and it's emphasizing personal transformation, inner awakening, and the pursuit of higher purpose. So, what is a spiritual awakening? It's, one definition is it's a profound realization of one's true nature and a connection to the universe. So sometimes when we wake up, we realize that there is more going on than what we could even comprehend. And it's about things being interconnected in ways you never thought they were. And it's about being open enough to witness these things and to claim them for yourself. It often involves a shift in perception where material concerns become less important and spiritual values take precedence. So it's more about not really giving your power or putting the emphasis on the external. It's more about coming within to really start to embrace having a relationship with yourself and with your innate wisdom and the knowledge that is part of who you are at a soul's level. So let's talk about ascension. And ascension, we hear that buzzword quite a bit. We're ascending and, we're raising our frequency and vibration. And that's true. That's part of it because we're all energetic beings, and everything, including the things we see and we don't see, are all energy. And let me elaborate a little bit. When you're looking at a picture of me here, I'm a physical person, and you see all these items behind me. They're all physical, but they're all energetic. They're just a denser form of energy. Now, take into consideration our thoughts, what we say to ourselves, our emotions, whether or not we experience them or not, also our connectedness to our higher self, our inner knowing, are all demonstrations of energy as well. And they are at a higher vibrating frequency. So you don't see them as a tangible, something that you could actually see and touch. For some people who are very kinesthetic, you may be able to feel that. Okay. But visually, probably you won't be see it, but it's still energy. And those things are kind of radio waves. And I think we've all had these fleeting experiences or moments where you think about somebody that you haven't thought of in a long period of time. You haven't heard from them in maybe years sometimes. You think about them, and then the next thing you know, they give you a phone call. Okay, that's how energy works and how it's interconnected. And, for some people, it's like, well, we don't know if that's true or whatever because it hasn't been proved. Well, you know what? It has. And I'm going to share one thing with you. A lot of things we know work, but we don't have the technology at this time to actually measure that to prove that it's correct. So just because we can't evidence base it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So I invite you to embrace that possibility as well because it's important. When we ascend, the process is raising one's vibrational frequency to align with a higher dimension of consciousness. Now we talk about the veils between this existence and the other side, or between our world and the heavenly world. And when we are ascending, our vibration is a frequency, it's an energy. There's different levels and different dimensions of frequency and energy. As we raise our vibration and our frequency, we are able to see things that we might not have been able to see before because they were in either another dimension with a higher frequency that now our frequency is raised enough that we have witness to that. It involves letting go of limiting beliefs, healing past traumas, and embracing unconditional love and compassion. And we all need to have more of that. And what I want to circle back and talk about is this: when we ascend, we're raising our frequency. I find it very humorous when people, for those of you who are rock hounds and love collecting gemstones and crystals, this really cracks me up a bit because when you go to a rock show and they say, "Oh, we found this new mineral or whatever, and it's, new to the earth and, it's never been here before." Well, I beg to differ. It probably has been here for a very long time. It's just vibrating at a higher frequency, and humanity has raised its vibration and frequency enough to actually see that because it's a match now. So when you raise your frequency and vibration up to that, okay, you're going to see that. If it's below that, you're not going to see it. So it's an interesting concept when people say, oh, it's new to the earth. No, it's been here for a long time. It's just vibrating at a different frequency. So keep in mind when things are being presented to you, and sometimes even in your own life, if your frequency and vibration is here and something that you desire is up higher, how do we manifest that or how do we create that? You go up and raise your vibration. So your vibration will be closer energetically to the match of that, and you're going to be able to see that. So another key concept to remember about, the awakening to ascension is consciousness expansion. And what that is moving beyond the ego and experiencing a greater sense of unity with all life. And I think this is what happens when people have a spiritual awakening. They realize that there's more than the ego, and everything is more interconnected than you could imagine. So it's also developing heightened awareness and intuition and spiritual insights. This is where you're able to tap into that innate wisdom, your intuition, that's allowing you to probably live a different life than you thought you were going to, but it's in true essence where you need to be for you to gain the most, I'm going to say it, bang for your buck in this lifetime. Okay, so you will gain the most education and wisdom to allow your soul to grow at its most deepest and profound possibilities. So inner transformation is another key concept to awakening to ascension. It's a journey to self-discovery and personal growth, and it includes practices such as meditation, mindfulness, energy healing, and spiritual study. So we're getting ready to go on our break, but on our next segment, we're going to talk more about practices and tools that you could utilize to assist you on your path. And you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we're talking about I'm awake. Now what? See you after the break.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're talking about I'm awake, now what? This is for all my peeps out there that are just starting to wake up almost from a long slumber and getting back in tune with their inner wisdom and reality. And on the first segment, we were talking about what is awakening to ascension and what's a spiritual awakening. And, we learned a little bit about, it's almost as if somebody flipped a switch inside of you. I guess that's the best way. And you just wake up one morning and you realize you don't even recognize who you are. And something has changed within you, and everything that used to bring you love and joy and appreciation or whatever is no longer working. Or maybe um, you've lost a loved one, maybe things are happening in your life where relationships are transitioning, you lose your job, you're like unemployed, you don't know what you're going to do, you don't know what's next. A lot of people are going through some major shifts right now. And I want to just talk a little bit about that, because I think when you look at it from the perspective that things are not happening to you, but they're happening for you, I think you could take a deep breath and relax into things and just go with the flow and learn how to establish some deep faith and trust right now, because there's so much uncertainty and people are always grasping for the life preserver, I'm going to say, so they don't sink. But I have news for you. When you have trust and faith, you're not going to sink. You're going to float, and you're going to channel yourself and maneuver yourself through the obstacles. It's really that simple. When we try to make something happen or hang on to something that we've outgrown or out is no longer in energetic alignment with you, this is when we are like driving through through life with the emergency brake on. You know what that's like. It's like you're trying to go forward and you're like, what? It's just like sometimes you have to take the emergency brake off and just allow things to unfold. It's really that simple. But yet people try to resist that. And, it's the whole resist thing is sometimes just a bit, based on fear. just fear of like whatever is there. And we know that sometimes fear is it's a trigger, and it could be a good trigger too. But if you live in fear, it's a vibration. So if you continue to live in that heavy vibration of gloom and doom and whatever, I have news for you. You're going to create more and more of that faster than you could shake a stick at it. Okay. Because that's just what's happening right now. We are manifesting things really quickly, and our mind doesn't really filter if it's a positive or not so positive thing. It's up to us to be mindful of the fact of what we are creating. And, the other thing I want to make note of too is that, we talk about energy a lot on the Dr. Dolores Show because everything is energy. When we hang on to something that energetically is no longer aligned with us, we keep ourselves stuck and we keep ourselves small. It's almost as if we have blinders on and we limit the possibilities of what's there for us. Now, for example, sometimes things move out of our lives. Sometimes things are not meant to be there for your whole lifetime. It would be nice because we could control it and things will be status quo, but I think it would be so boring and unexciting. Okay. That's my perception. What you have to remember is that we are constantly evolving and growing. Okay. For example, maybe when you got that job 4 or 5 years ago, you were in energetic alignment with that job was, but the job hasn't changed or shifted, but you have grown and evolved and are probably an energetic misalignment for that job. So naturally, what's going to happen, anything that is no longer an energetic match is going to fall away. It's that simple. I call it you're getting upgraded, because that has to fall away sometimes. So you're here so you could attract something that is more aligned to where you are right now, and it's going to carry you further into the future until, the next time that you have like a growth spurt in your evolution or your ascension. Okay. It's that simple. So I invite people to look at things from a different perspective, because things are not happening to you, they're actually happening for you. And when we step out of the fear mode and focus and do a pivot and do a 180, if you want to call it, and focus on love and trust, believe me, you're going to experience more things that you're going to love and you're going to trust. Your trust muscle is going to continue to evolve and grow. When you look at nature, okay, you look at the animals that are there. I have a backyard that's full of all different birds, and I just love going out in my garden in the morning sometimes and just listening to the birds. They're singing away, happy as can be, without a care in the world, and they're provided for. They've got their food, they've got their water, and they're carefree. And I feel like it's more important to become with that vibration and that mentality and knowing and trusting. They don't worry about where their next meal is going to come from or next drink of water. They know that they know that it's there and it's there for them. So I just invite you to be more bird-like in your thinking and just allow things to flow and just be in the present moment. So we before the break, we were talking about key concepts to awakening. And one other one I want to add is a higher purpose. When we are aligning with our soul's mission and contributing to the collective awakening of humanity, this is where our higher purpose comes in. It's just like we made these contracts and we made these agreements before we were born of what we were going to do to assist humanity, possibly, or to contribute to the evolution of humanity. And we're waking up to where our gifts are and what we really need to be doing right now. It's like getting your wake up call, getting your papers, your working papers to your assignment of what you need to do next. And sometimes, the higher purposes is involves acts of service, creativity, and spreading love and light. That's simple. Just being a good person and spreading kindness. So, what are some of the practices and tools that are going to allow people to have more of a smoother transition into being awake and to be able to, like navigate their pathway? So I think some of the important things that are going to lead you to what you need to know is spending more time in mindfulness activities. And we talk a lot about that on the Dr. Dolores Show because mindfulness is a way of getting you into the present moment. And seriously, all we have is the present moment. When you are in the present moment, you are in your physical body. If you want to go a little further, you're actually in your heart space. When you're in your heart space, you are in your physical body. When you start worrying and start, fretting and being anxious, guess what? You pop from present moment to your head, which is worrying about tomorrow, contemplating yesterday, and, and a whole gaggle of things that you're drumming up in your creative mind, trying to figure things out. I invite you to spend so much time in doing mindfulness activities that it almost becomes a routine for you. Now, let's define what a mindful activity is. Not a mindless activity, but mindful activity. So, mindful activities are anything that keeps you in the present moment. It could be as simple as going out in your yard and sitting and looking at nature. It's something that will allow you to lose all sense of time and place. We've all had those fleeting moments where we get so involved in doing maybe a hobby or a project that we lose, we're in it and time goes by like that. And usually 4 or 5 hours go by like that. That is a mindful activity. It keeps you in the present moment. It could be anything as simple as drawing, writing, doing anything creative, gardening, taking a walk on the beach, being with young children, being with somebody who you enjoy spending time with, where time, it just flies. It's also about even being with animals. If you have a favorite animal or something, a pet, just when you're with them, they're the essence of in the moment. They don't worry about tomorrow or yesterday. They're right there, right here, right now. So, also in regards to some things that you could do as well, energy healing is a big yes. And because when we have blockages in our energy field, sometimes we need a little extra help from somebody who's able to assist with that. So, energy healing, such as Reiki, chakra balancing, healing, and when we are able to realign our remove the blockages and realign our energy field, we're able to raise our vibrational frequency as well. And that's really important right now because it's all about raising our frequency, because as time progresses, our more and more opportunity is going to present itself to raise our frequency. Now, the other thing you need to remember is that as we raise our frequency, the things that are unconscious within us become more conscious. And let me repeat that. As we raise our energy field, the things and the beliefs and the blockages that or the issues that we carry that need to be healed are subconscious. And when we raise our frequency, they move from subconscious into consciousness. So there's an awareness that something is happening that we need to probably look at, heal. And a dead giveaway sometimes is if you're being triggered by something, it's an opportunity to go deeper within yourself to find out why you're reacting to that trigger. Because it's never what you think it is on the superficial, it's always something deeper. And it might be a deep wounding from childhood, or even when you were in utero in your mom's belly. So I invite you to just be aware of that and not to be frightened by it, but just know that this is what happens. So it allows you to go through a lot of healing and growth that's going to be helpful for you as you move forward, because you don't need the density of that old energy hanging out and weighing you down like shackles on your ankles. So spiritual study, it's like if being I always like saying leaning into uh, certain topics in metaphysics or spiritual studies, definitely do that, because I feel that there's always messages for you and you are intuitively guided to your next steps. Um, and if you ever doubt that, just ask yourself, show me my next step, and just allow yourself to be led to what your next step is. Maybe it's a book you need to read. Maybe it's going to the beach. Maybe it's just connecting with a new friend that you met that has the same values and stuff. Whatever that is, trust that and just allow that to be your next step. So we're getting ready to go into our next break. I can't believe it's already halfway through the show. And you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show, and we're talking about I'm Awake, Now What? And we're on Inspired Choices Network. So we'll see you when we come back.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. We're talking about I'm Awake, Now What? On the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And before our last breaks, we were talking about ascension and some of the things that you could do to assist with your journey, especially if you had just woken up and life has just been working for you just fine, and then all of a sudden it's not, and you're kind of scratching your head and you're not really realizing what's going on, but you feel like um, you're in uncharted territory. And I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. There's many of us who have gone through this, and many people are going through this right now. And I'm offering some assistance to have you be aware of what's going on so you could maneuver yourself through this with a lot more grace and ease than many of us had to do it when we were going through it. So before break, we were talking about being aware and spiritual study and connecting to nature and learning how to maneuver through how things are moving from unconsciousness to consciousness. And this is like where the awareness comes in. When things move from unconsciousness to consciousness, now you could do something with it. When it's unconscious, it's still running the show. But when you have the awareness and it's conscious, now you can move forward and do something with it and transform that into something that is more in resonance with who you are and where you're going. So some of the other things that happen too when you're going through an ascension, you go through a purification process, and it's like we're talking about, it's clearing out old negative energies, old patterns, and limiting beliefs. Those are the unconscious things that now you're conscious of, so it allows you to work with that so you can make different choices. So it's about really being kind and gentle with yourself and having some self-compassion and just allowing yourself the grace that, you know what, I'm just learning and I'm doing the best I can, and not feel like you're a failure, or, you're going to go down the rabbit hole of, woe is me, or going into fear mode. Please don't do that. You have a choice right now. You could either go down that rabbit hole or you could choose to do something different. Integration is really important. It's like the new knowledge that you're using, integrate it into your life and start leading by example. You'd be really surprised when you start making shifts within yourself. It ripples out into the universe and people notice that in a good way. It's not about getting attention or anything, but it's like you're showing up and embracing probably your true essence and your true self of who you are. And there's nothing more attractive than that. And people, it's almost like you're allowing your light to shine within you more so than you ever have. And that light is what's attracting other people. And sometimes when you're in your essence, you offer hope and inspiration by just showing up. It's your energy that comes out. Okay. There's the enlightenment phase too, where you're achieving a state of higher consciousness and profound inner peace. Yes, trust me, the inner peace is just key. Once you have a sampling of that, you're going to want more and more of that, and you will um, keep that as one of your sacred things that you honor about yourself, is like having that inner peace where this is like becoming the eye of all the storms that are in the external around you. And it's just a real delicious and yummy place to be. And it's about service, sharing the light and wisdom that you gained with others. And we just touched a little bit on that. It's like when you're starting to work on yourself and you have this inner radiance that's starting to grow and grow and grow, it really is an attractive thing. And it allows you to contribute to the collective evolution and well-being of humanity. It's that simple. All you need to, you're like a drop in the big pond of water, a drop of water. Okay. So you're working on yourself, you're shifting and changing, you're putting that drop of water in that bigger vessel, and it's rippling out. So that's how it works. It's not about doing anything. It's about you showing up and embracing who you are. That is more than enough. That makes you plenty and allows that to ripple out. So, we talked about some of the challenges that may happen with this, and some of it is about you coming, your old patterning is going to come up, and it's actually a good thing because it's coming up so it can be healed. So you can move on and, I want to say, allow that old energy to dissipate so it could be transformed, transmuted, and transcended. It's about, some of the challenges too. Sometimes you're going to doubt yourself. Your fears are going to come up, and the resistance. And this is all your ego, wanting to elbow its way in to say, well, what about me? Blah, 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 blah. And it's about befriending your ego. It's not about removing your ego, it's befriending it, meaning that you guys play nicely together in the sandbox. And if it doesn't, he needs to leave. But it's about setting boundaries, but it's like the ebb and flow. It's about the discernment piece, but also any doubts or whatever, just, allow them to come through and just say, okay, thank you very much. And I'm going to choose something different. just allow the ego to say what it needs to, and then you just correct and say, and I'm choosing something different. That's something simple that you could do. Support is so important. Find like-minded communities and spiritual mentors. There's a lot of support out there, a lot of communities, and just go where you're led. Allow your inner wisdom and inner guidance system to lead you to where your next step is. If you're leaning into one organization that really feels like it's in alignment, by all means follow that. Trust the information that you're getting from within, because it's the right thing for you, not your neighbor, not your spouse, not your kids, but for you. And just do some, practices for yourself, really start being aware and mindful, and do a daily regimen practice for yourself, just like you would step into the shower and brush your teeth and get ready for the day. This should also be part of your day. It might be, for me, it's like I get my cup of coffee and I go sit on the couch and I go into meditation, and then I do some automatic writing. That's what I do as a spiritual practice on a daily basis. I invite you to find what's going to work for you, but make a habit of doing that, because this is going to be your anchor that's going to allow you to um, take better care of yourself on the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical level. And if you need to just, if you need help or anything, reach out to people like myself. I work with people one-on-one to help them maneuver through lots of things. And actually, I have a virtual monthly event that's going to be starting in August, and it's called I'm Awake Now What, where one of my colleagues and I have joined forces, and we're going to be having a virtual monthly subscription program where we come in and talk about all things ascension and how we could help people maneuver through these interesting times that a lot of people are doing as they awaken into their awareness. So the journey of awakening to ascension is deeply personal and unique for everybody. Everybody's journey is going to be different. And it requires dedication, openness, and a willingness to embrace change and growth. While it can be challenging, it is ultimately the path to greater fulfillment, love, and understanding. And we all want more of that, don't we? I mean, really, it's so important. And, if you really like to meditate and stuff like that, I invite you to go and do that as well, and find some guided meditations that are going to allow you to go deeper. What I really like too is listening to music that is Hertz and solfeggio music, which has the vibration and frequency of different frequencies. I'm repeating myself, you know, but what it is energetic frequency that raises your vibration as well. Um, and so I'm looking at Sarah's piping in. That's how you say that. Yes, solfeggio. Hertz and what? Solfeggio. So there's a lot of music out there. I love 528 hertz. And what I love about it, it's restorative and it helps with balancing out your energy field. So you could actually go online and YouTube. There's lots of different, and just plug in 528 hertz. And for those people who have challenges around what's going on for them and they feel a little uneasy, I'm really going to suggest that they do this and get a track that's like 8 or 9 hours. And I invite you to play that as you're going to sleep at night and let it run throughout the night. I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised how rested you will feel when you wake up in the morning, and you may have a different perspective on life and maybe what's next for you as well. So some of the five, we're going to talk more about some takeaways, in our last segment. And I think we're going to just cut to a break, but you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And when we return, we'll talk more and wrap it all up for the episode.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we've been talking about I'm awake, now what? On the Dr. Dolores Show today. And it's really about spiritual awakening and ascension. And many people are what I call waking up. We've had a lot of things happen in our world, and life is changing. And it's almost as if people are waking up and getting their new work orders as far as what they're supposed to be doing here on planet Earth. And sometimes it means that they need to energetically, they've shifted enough where things in their life are no longer in alignment. So to surmise things, it's a journey, it's not a destination. We all have gone through it. A lot of us have. I have, and I continue to go through it. And it's about allowing yourself the grace and and compassion and just being gentle and kind to yourself, because this is what it's really all about. Everybody's doing the best they can with what they know and what they are working with. So I want to leave you with 5 key takeaways talking about, ascension and spiritual awakening. Higher consciousness and awareness. So we are shifting to a higher state of consciousness, and it's like more self-awareness is involved with that. And people are undergoing spiritual awakening that might experience a profound sense of interconnectedness and deep understanding of spiritual truths. It's about allowing ourselves to move into that with a lot more grace and ease. You may have emotional and physical symptoms, and I really didn't talk much about that, but I want to address that here. A lot of times, as we are evolving, people start having physical aches and pains in their bodies that mimic, heart attacks or, stomach problems or whatever, and they'll go into the emergency department, they'll run a battery test, and the ED department is scratching their head because all your tests are coming back without a problem. So what I'm going to give some insight into, these are what we call ascension symptoms, and I invite you to go online and look that up, because many people are going through that. As you are taking on more energy and your vibration is raising, it's like, just remember that you're like a computer. Okay, you're getting an upgraded program, it's getting downloaded, and your body is recalibrating to a higher frequency. So yes, it's like the aches and pains are going to come out. And for those of us who have a tendency to think that, oh my God, something bad's happening, breathe, and definitely go check it out to make sure nothing bad is. I will say that you are probably going through an ascension process and you're getting an energetic upgrade, and this is what's happening. You might feel achy or fluish, or you might even feel like you're, having a panic attack or whatever. This is an energetic upgrade that you're getting. So you're going to have inner transformation and healing. So a lot of things that have been stuck in your archives. You're going to go for an archaeological dig sometimes because it's going to come from unconsciousness to consciousness. And now we could do something with it and heal it and shift it and transform and transcend it. It's really that simple. Your intuitive abilities are going to increase and even probably, it's almost like the lid of the top of your head is like opened and your intuitive abilities are going to be enhanced. And that is because as you release the energetic debris that's in your energy field, that lower vibrating stuff, you're making room for other things to come in that are more aligned with what you are. And a lot of times that's your intuition. So know that you'll become more intuitive. And you know what? You're going to have a shift in your life purpose and relationships, and that's okay. Remember, relationships and people, they're in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And when energetically, when there's no longer an alignment or you've learned that what you need to learn from being in that situation, you have to allow it to move away and just appreciate and love it for what it was and allow it to move because you're making room for something that's more energetically aligned with you. So know that you are not going crazy, okay? You're going through an ascension. And I just want to leave you with this. Embrace your journey. Remember, your path is uniquely yours, and every challenge you face, and every victory you celebrate is a step towards your true self. So embrace the journey with open arms and a courageous heart. And continue your growth and be the change. So next week on the Dr. Dolores Show, we're circling back and talking about healing hearts, the power of self-forgiveness. I've done other shows on self-forgiveness, and I feel like it's important to revisit this because it's an essential component that allows you to allow more love, self-compassion, and kindness to yourself. So step into the transformative realm of healing hearts, the power of self-forgiveness on the Dr. Dolores Show as we navigate the delicate terrain of the human heart, unraveling the profound impact of self-forgiveness on our emotional and well-being. So join us as we embark on the soul-stirring exploration of redemption, where shattered dreams give way to newfound hope, and the journey towards self-forgiveness becomes a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. In the sacred space of the Dr. Dolores Show, miracles happen, and the path to healing is illuminated by a transformative power of forgiveness. So join us next week for Healing Hearts and the Power of Self-Forgiveness. And, just remember that we're just in such interesting times right now. And believe it or not, we all signed up to be here at this moment, maybe just to witness the changes that are happening in our world. We could witness and not be involved in it. By witnessing it, you're observing it, but not allowing it to affect who you are. So that's a choice in itself. And I just want to leave you with these words as we sign off. Embrace each step of your journey. For in the valleys you find strength, and on the peaks you discover your true self. Let every moment transform you, for it is in the transformation that you become your most extraordinary self. So just allow that to sink in, because that's the truth. And just remember to be kind to yourself, to allow yourself the grace, and love yourself, because you are loved more than you could imagine. And I know that you got this, even though sometimes it may seem that you don't know what the heck is going on and you have no reference point for it. So take care and see you next week on the Dr. Dolores Show. Bye now.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. Dr. Dolores returns Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, remember to be kind to yourself and create your best life. You are worth it.